right, welcome everybody to the Kingdom Politics Podcast. My name is Pastor Will, as usual, and we also have Dr. Huffman, as usual. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. That theme song has such a good beat to it.
Yeah, 7 seconds of awesomeness.
The best part of the show.
Yeah, as soon as we start talking, it's done. Today we have a special guest. So we had Phil Harding on last week, who's running for District 7, and now we have Pastor Rick Smithers, who's running for District 7 as well this week. And he's running, it's a congressional seat, and give you a quick introduction for him. He's a working man. He works hard. I believe you built your own church, right, sir?
That's correct, yes. 15 years ago.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And so he's coming from a working class family, working class guy, and he's ready to step into politics and make a difference for our nation. You're coming at us, You're coming at this race from a different point of view than a lot of people. And so why did you decide to step up and run, sir? What about this time period?
Well, I've been doing research, and I've always been interested in politics, but pastoring a church has always kept me, in front of people. And I've absolutely enjoyed and loved doing that. I don't get paid to pastor a church. It's something that I felt that the Lord called me to as a servant. It was in Matthew chapter 10, verse 45. It says, "The Son of Man didn't come to serve, but to be served, but to serve." And I feel like that so many people in my past have said, you know what, it's time for the church to step up. It's time for the pastors to get involved. I'm the pastor. I'm involved. Here we are. Like I said, I've always been interested in politics. I've been educated and got 2 master's degrees, a doctoral degree in public policy. I think the Lord has been equipping me all along, and where he guides, he equips the people to do their work. So my thing is, for the blue collar worker, I want to go and support them. I want to be a representative for them. It's a lot of people in the District 7 who work hard, but yet they feel like that they're not getting ahead in life today. So we've got to have representatives who are staying in touch with the people, because I feel like today that we are at a crossroads. Every individual, every group of people, everybody is going to have an answer to the Lord one day. What have we done to better life for everybody, for anybody for that fact? And I just feel like, Washington has a big disconnect to the working class family. They have a big disconnect to people in general sometimes. And I feel like that we just need people who understand what life is really about and go in and represent them. Give them a voice. Be their voice. I want to go to be a servant for the people.
Yeah, it's something we talk about a lot on here, is the church needing to step up.
Mm-hmm.
For, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 years of doctrine that says we're not supposed to be part of this. Something like that. I don't know. That's a roundabout. That's off the top of my head.
Yeah. I did my thesis for my doctoral degree. I did it on separation of church and state, with the emphasis on tax exemption. I've never really agreed with the separation of church and state, because I truly, honestly believe that churches had better step up now before we lose what liberties and freedoms we've already fought for. It's time to stand up, and it's time for churches to make a difference. If you look back through history, it's always been the church that stood up at certain times to get things back on the right compass.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Well, we're both pastors. So I'll get so we can have some pastor questions.
Ask me anything you want to. I don't mind, really.
Yeah. We go around lots of places and talk to a lot of people, and the prevailing, I guess, here's my question. It would be then, what do we go, especially because you've stepped up and run, so you've taken it even a step further than you and I have.
Right.
And how do we get the church more involved? Where do you see that part coming into play?
I think they'll get more involved when they see people leading as an example. What I've noticed within this whole campaign is that we're putting people in office, and their standard of it being an example for our younger people, our younger generation, even people our own age, that standard has fallen some. And we're putting these people, we're voting to place them in some very high positions, and their standards are just falling away. It's not the standard that we should be leaving. We should be exempling for our younger generation. We went, well, I won't say too much because I might get myself in trouble, but some of the representatives that I've met face to face since I've been in this, and I just don't know that I would want those type of people leading my younger daughter or my children. And we got to get back to God to lead good godly examples, because I think that's the only way that we're going to get this place back in the position it needs to be.
Yeah, I agree. It is. Do you know the word will get in trouble on this show? Although coming on here might get you in trouble.
That's okay.
It might be the opposite. Yeah, you're right though, because people people go and they vote, and people are elected to represent the people, but it's the standards upon which. So I'll ask you the same question I asked Phil, and I also asked Karen this as well when Delegate Hamilton when she was on.
Right.
Because I go around and I'll give a talk about why Christians need to vote, and this is what I get asked almost every time, and it's a good point. People will come up to me and say, Pastor Will, I get it. I totally understand what you're saying. I understand why Christians should vote and Christians should be involved, but why should I vote for this party or that party? Particularly obviously if you're a Christian, you're probably not, I would hope you're not voting Democrat, but
Right.
Even on the Republican side, it can get kind of tough sometimes.
It can.
And so we need people stepping up and running from a biblical worldview point.
Mm-hmm. Well, it would make it easier for the voters, because then they don't have to go in and hold the nose and just fill in the dotted space. If we live an example to give them good guidance, if we example ourselves as a person that they know that they can trust, they can believe, and a person that lives through faith, it wouldn't be a question. A lot of times I get this in my same church as well. Well, who should I vote for? Because you got two Republicans, this guy does this and this guy does that. And some of them say, well, you just got to hold your nose and go in and vote for the best one and let the Lord convict you on it. And I believe that it shouldn't be that way. We should have good examples to lead us. We should have people who are living right and who's making right decisions, who's going to do right for the people. And then I think we would get more people out to vote if we give them that good example. If we be that good example, we'd give them a better chance to vote.
What'd you guys, sir?
I just want to take this on a kind of a federal level, Rick, and a lot of the things that concerns a lot of voters in every district in Virginia, all 11 districts, is probably the wasteful spending that's occurring in Washington now. At the Kingdom podcast, we don't endorse, of course, because as soon as you endorse somebody, they go out and do something silly.
Exactly.
Right?
I understand, seriously.
But we do have very strong opinions at Kingdom Politics, as you've probably learned. So when HR 1 was in the House and in the Senate to be voted on, we had some concerns, and I want to ask you about those concerns. Now, of course, HR 1 it is law, so I mean it's not that you could do anything about it now, right. But I kind of want to get your thoughts about it for the future. One of the things that troubled us about HR 1, the big beautiful bill, was, and we also asked Phil Harding this same question, is the debt ceiling that was raised by $5 billion. Instead of passing the 12 appropriation bills that the Senate is supposed to pass each year, they constantly are passing continuing resolutions, basically kicking the can down the road, giving themselves a credit increase of this time of $5 billion. Of course, this bill will sunset in 2036, and it is estimated that the national debt will be over $60 trillion by the time this bill sunsets. And we are concerned on many levels, but one of the most offensive, Will is a veteran, and we have great respect and honor for those men and women that served in uniform. And one of the points that we brought up to Phil that I'd like to get your opinion on is we spend more money a year as a nation on the debt of the interest rather of the national debt than we do on defense. And when you have a Congress that, yes, is a Republican majority, but when you have a Congress and a Senate that refuses seemingly to pass the 12 appropriation bills that they keep promising that they're going to pass, but they never do, we believe that that's physically irresponsible. And now our question is, even though you can't do anything about H.R. 1, question is, how would you in the future fight for physical responsibility? Now, we're going to get to some other issues, but we want to give you the easy question first.
Yeah, that was easy.
I think that let me just say something that Donald Trump would say. I'd fire every one of them. That's what I'd like to do to go in there, because they take an oath. When they go against that oath, the appropriation bills, taxes, border security, energy, defense, Medicaid, SNAP, national debt, all of those things have got to go through. And I think they use those bills right there as a leverage tool to get past what they want to get past. And you're right, our deficit right now is $39.4 trillion. We spend $1.1 trillion every year just in interest. That's money that we can't use for veterans. We can't use it for Social Security. We can't use it for our seniors. We can't use it for any other agencies or programs. That's $1.1 trillion that is going total waste. We've got to cut the spending, because if we expect for families out here in our society to live on a budget, Washington's got to live on a budget as well. And what I would do is I would look closely at it. I would see what's before me on my desk, and if we don't need the money to be spent in certain areas, I would definitely vote to cut it out. Because if we don't get it under control, our grandchildren and our children are going to be past a debt that they cannot afford, and it's putting these younger people, say, out of high school, fresh out of college, boys and girls that want to get married and live the American dream. They want to buy a house. It's unaffordable for them. They can't buy houses. They get these jobs and they're paying student loans. They never get ahead. Even myself, in the church, we have people come to church all the time. Well, we can't afford our electric bill. I don't have enough gas to take my children to the babysitters so I can go to work. That's the stuff we get often. They can't pay the electric bill. They can't buy gas. They can't buy groceries. You go to Walmart, you spend $400 on groceries. You come out with a half a basket that's going to last you for 3 or 4 days in this day and time. We've got to get spending under control. And if they wanted to use these appropriation bills as leverage, then that needs to stop. And we need to make sure that these simple bills get passed before we tack something else along on with it, to please the congressmen and to please the senators and the politicians who are just wanting to get their own bills passed. So it's definitely got to be looked at.
The problem that we see in Washington, Rick, and we're not at all anti-Trump here. But at the same time, we also do not give Trump a free pass.
Exactly. Yep.
And what we notice in Washington is when, for example, when H.R. 1 was in the House, I began to call representatives, and almost out of all of them, the same response I received was, well, Dr. Huffman, we've got to save America. Okay, I don't disagree with that. But I'm asking you about H.R. 1. Well, we got to save America. Okay, yeah, I got that. But have you read H.R. 1? We got to save America. And Rick, I kid you not, those were the responses that I got from the Republicans in Washington on H.R. 1, because, well, we don't pull any punches here, Kingdom Politics. Because it seems that if a congressman does not back a Trump policy, he gets you primaried out. And we want to make sure in 7 that we are having a congressman that is going to not cower because of the fear of a primary. Now, again, we're not anti-Trump, but we don't give Trump a free pass. When he does things that are unconstitutional, we say it. When he does things that are good, we say it. And both of those things have been the case. But so how would you act? How do you think that you would handle going against the president?
I wouldn't pause to go against him. If he wanted me to vote for something that I didn't agree with, that wasn't going to benefit the people here in the district or in the state of Virginia or in the United States for that matter, I would not vote for it. I don't care if he got me primaried out, but that's not why I'm running for office. I'm running because people need a voice to represent them. We don't need more people to go up there and suck up to Trump. We don't need that. I think he's been a great president. He's probably one of the best we've ever had, and he's doing a great job. But here's the thing. We need to focus on within the walls of the United States. We need to focus on the people who are struggling here. And I think there's a lot of attention that's being focused outside of the United States, and the people here are not getting represented well. And I know that we've got a lot of Republicans who are weak. They're on the fence. That's why the Save America Act hasn't passed yet, because we have a lot of weak Republicans who are not standing up. We have a lot who are opposed anything that Trump does just because his name's on it. But for me, if I'm going to get primaried out, or if I'm going to get voted out, it's going to be for a good reason. And the only reason that can be is because I was doing what I felt was right for the people I represent. Not because I was opposing the president, not because I was sticking up for a president. If it's not good for the people, I'm not going to be in it myself. So he doesn't scare me. No one in politics scares me. I have a calling from the Lord. He's the one that I have to answer to. He's the one I'm going to answer to when I leave this world. So when I stand before him, I'm going to have to be held accountable, and I'm going to do what's going to please him rather than please any man or anybody else. And I wish I could tell you a lot of stories, because I've been in those positions where I've had to go against churches. I've had to go against leaders. And because of that, that's why I built my own church, because between myself, the Lord, and two old timers in our community, he saw it through. And to this day, we have not had to ask for $1 from the church to pay our bills. The Lord's always provided. I'm seeking after his approval before I am a president or any other politician's approval. Because if I live my life through my faith and through the guidance of the Lord, everything else will fall into place, because he's ultimate, the supreme leader anyhow. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because ultimately, when you have a biblical worldview, you have discernment for the world. Mm-hmm. You can look at things objectively, because we're not going based off of some shallow ideology like socialism on the left. Exactly. Or another ideology that's on the right that's not Christian. We're going off of a deep knowledge base that is the Word of God, and it gives you discernment and objectability. Sorry, I said that wrong the first time. To look at things, because too much in politics is one way or the other. Like I like to tell this funny story. I have YouTube TV. For some reason, when I was watching a baseball game a couple of weeks ago, it thought I lived in Maryland. I don't. So anyway, I got a Maryland political ad. I don't know who the person was. I don't even remember the name. But I was watching the ad, and I was like, it's not terrible ideas. But then at the end, because it was a Democrat, they have to shoehorn in, but I'm going to fight Trump every step of the way. I laughed, because I was like, why don't you just stick to the good ideas that I thought you kind of had for, a 30-second baseball, in between innings political ad. And every time you see the left is, well, I'm going to fight this all the way to, well, no. You look at John Fetterman, for example. How you still
never would have thought he would have been an ally to the conservatives.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have. But he's able to have discernment. I don't think he's a Christian. I don't know him personally. That's not a slight against him. I have no idea. Maybe he goes to church every Sunday. I really don't know. But again, this is where Christians need to understand how tribalistic everything's gotten, and especially politics.
At this point, I don't think it's a battle that we're facing today between Republican and Democrat, even though I know they've got some really messed up ideologies. It's more, I mean, we're seeing, and here's the thing, if you speak too much like a pastor on the campaign trail, then they view you as sort of weak. And we know, the two of you said you're pastors, we know that the strongest people are going to have a strong faith in God. And that's where we get our strength from. But I believe that today we're fighting a lot of evil in this world. We really are. And if you don't get people who are in tune with the moral values, with the way that the Holy Spirit wants to lead them, the way that God has ordained us to live, I think that we're going to lose everything that we have. And that's another reason I'm standing up, because we have something here in this country worth fighting for. America's still worth fighting for.
Oh,
Our
yeah.
grandchildren, our children, any person walking on this earth today is worth fighting for, because the Lord seen it good enough to create them. Therefore, He knows that they're good. They're good enough to fight for. And that's why I want to run, because listen, on my campaign trail, I've got this slogan. My son made it up. It's not, if you want hope, don't hope for change, vote for change. And if we don't get the churches out to vote for change, we're not going to get change. And if you're on a campaign trail and you're calling these churches, you want to go in and introduce yourself and tell them who you're about, they are so scared to death that they're going to lose something because of being political, because of separation of church and state.
Yeah, it's a bigger issue than just everything starts at the spiritual level. Everything. It's not cool to say that anymore, but it's
Right.
true.
Right.
It is true.
It's everything does, and we've talked to a couple of different delegates on this show, because normally we do state level stuff, and then for you guys, obviously, we're doing federal.
Mhm.
But everyone we've talked to, people need to understand that someone's morality is getting legislated.
Right. It is. Whether it's good or bad.
Yep, exactly.
And I'd rather see the good side get legislated.
Yeah, me too. I would rather see us get back to 10 Commandments in schools.
Yep.
And because you're right. I look at my son, he's 11, and there's no way when I'm an old man that I'm going to look at him and go, I'm sorry I didn't fight for you harder. Here's a whole host of problems now
Yeah.
that are yours
Exactly.
and your children's problems. Sorry, I'm out now.
Yeah.
And that's something I don't want to look back and regret, that I didn't do all that I could do to help the next generation come up, the ones that's going to take over our churches, the ones that are going to be running for political office. I want to be able to sleep good at night and say, you know what, I fought the good fight. I did all that I could do to leave this place a better place for my children and for my grandchildren. We'll have our number 6 grandchild at the end of this month. Those small children, they don't have a lot to look forward to in the future if we don't change things. And it's got to be changed. Whether you're Democrat or Republican, we've got to come together and we've got to change things so that our children, our grandchildren have a better future to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah, in one area, and then we did have a comment from the chat as well. Our good friend Dan is tuned in.
Wow.
But one problem I had with the big beautiful bill, and it's the notion of conservatism, and this is why Christians need to stand up. They only defunded Planned Parenthood for 1 year.
Yeah.
And while that is important that it happened for 1 year, it's back on the table now.
Right.
And any day now, to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer money will go to Planned Parenthood.
Yep.
I'm guessing it's going to happen. I pray it doesn't, but I'm guessing that's the road we're headed down. That's
And
not
I'm not-
conservative.
It is. The only thing that I can say about Planned Parenthood and stuff like that is that as a follower of the Lord, and like I said, if we speak the Lord too much, people look at us as if we're a fanatic or something like that. But He saved me from the trenches of this world more than one time, and I'm grateful for it. So I'm going to speak it boldly, and I'm going to speak it loudly. If I get this office, I'm not supporting Planned Parenthood, not with one red cent. I would not do it because it's wrong. And we need to get some people educated on exactly what's going on. Educate them more. That way they're not making decisions out of, not being educated and out of ignorance. And I don't mean that as an insult, but if people are not aware, then they're not aware. And we can educate people more on stuff like that.
A lot of it's education, because it's not, they like to be called pro-choice on their side of it, but it's not a choice.
It's not.
And we could probably we've done full episodes on it, but we could talk for hours on that.
One of the on that topic, Rick, one of the appropriation bills that we were talking about before is the Labor, Health, and Human Service and Education appropriations. And we're talking about funding Planned Parenthood and how the original H.R. 1 was supposed to have defunded them for 10 years. And then when it finally got passed, the Virgin had reduced it to 1.
Yeah.
But then you have the Hyde Amendment that was passed in 1976, took effect in 1977, and it has never been repealed. But it can only be enacted as the Labor, Health, and Human Services and Education Appropriations Bill is passed. The Hyde Amendment, which, and for our viewers who don't know what the Hyde Amendment is, basically the Hyde Amendment is a bill that basically said that federal taxpayer dollars cannot go to fund Planned Parenthood except in cases of rape, incest, or the health of the mother. Those three limited cases,
Right.
the Hyde Amendment said, and it was patroned by a representative from Illinois, believe it or not. Of course, it was in the 70s.
Yeah.
I think his what was his name? Let me look. I can't remember what his name was. Harry Hyde. I thought that's what it was, but that sounded too silly, but that's what it is. But it has to be annually appropriated through the Labor, Health, and Human Services and Education Appropriations Bill. And so the longer, Rick, that the Republicans who refuse, for whatever reason, to pass these appropriation bills, they are also at the same time refusing to pass important pieces of legislation that are tucked in these appropriations. I mean, we want to get on the platform and say that we're pro-life and we're doing and with this, with that, and the other. And well, they may be, but at the same time, they refuse to pass appropriation bills that would basically defund Planned Parenthood without having to have a separate bill to do it because it's already law.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think that they use a lot of this for leverage to get other stuff through that they want through. And the bottom line is, like I said before, you got to speak it boldly, truthfully. There's only one truth, and we know where that comes from. If you're going to support it, support it. If you're not going to support it, say, I'm not going to support it, and don't stick it in the middle of a bill somewhere trying to get something else approved so they can ride in on it.
So one quick question, since it came in from our good friend Dan. Rent, like you were talking about before, the ability to pay for the basics of things, shelter. I remember when I take survival training, they tell you what you need. Shelter is one of them.
Yeah,
exactly.
And now we're talking about just everyday living shelter. I'm at a church essentially almost every day. And yeah, we get the same phone calls. Hey, I need help with rent. Is that something you guys can do? And I know it's not just my church or your church. A lot of churches get those phone calls. And for as much as the left will beat the door down for affordable housing, their plans for it are not good.
Exactly.
And not realistic, rather, I should say.
So I build houses. Well, I do concrete foundations for new homes, and I've been doing it for 30 years. I'm also a veteran. I know we've got to have shelter, and that we can do. Let's take the fraudulent money that they've exposed in Minnesota, and let's use that to put people in houses. There's enough money out there that's being misused that we can collect and help people out. But I don't think that, everybody says, and that's that old saying, the money is all, my uncle used to say this, the money is all the root of all evil. And you're inviting me to church to leave a little bit of that evil behind. He used to say it all the time. We can come up with a plan to get people housing, and it doesn't got to be ridiculous. I'm pretty sure that we're taking in all of these people, but yet we have people who have put into this country all their lives, who are barely making a living, who's barely buying groceries and stuff. But yet we've got all these programs to help people that are even not citizens of the United States. A lot of them are here illegal. And we're putting a lot of financial strain on ourselves supporting these people when our own people are going without. And I don't see where that's a wise thing to do. Even, if we can't take care of our own household, what business do we have going out trying to tell someone else how to run theirs? And then what I'm talking about that is, other countries and our neighboring countries and stuff. Why are we going to tell them how to run theirs? We're not taking care of our own. And we need to put, domestically, we need to put our country first for once. We need to put the government working back for the American people for once, so that our people can be strong. And if we strengthen our own people, it's going to strengthen the country. And then we'll be able to go out and offer more help to people who are in need and who need help.
Yeah, it's biblical, but it's also practical as well. But
It is.
every nation's built on families.
Hmm.
Strong families, you get a strong nation. It's been
Mhm.
like that since the very beginning.
Exactly.
Um, throughout history, when families are taken apart, the nation falls.
That's right.
It's pretty simple. It's why it's part of the communist playbook is to break down the family because like all three of us have talked about, most of us are doing this because we have kids or grandkids.
Yeah.
And so, well, talking about, let's move to the SAVE Act. Voting is probably the most important thing we do here.
I think so. Yes.
I would think so.
Mhm.
It should be. We did a whole episode on transparency. Actually, we were talking at lunch about a different thing, and I learned at a different situation that you weren't allowed to ask questions at this, and I said, well, I'm out then because I personally will not attend a place. Now, whether I personally get to ask a question or not, I get it, time constraints and all that good stuff. But if there's not an ability to ask questions and transparency, I don't really want to have any part of it.
Mhm.
Voting should be the most transparent thing we do
It
in
should.
this country.
It's leading our country that we're putting leaders in place that we're supposed to be able to trust. And if they can't even produce an ID of themselves, and why would you want to allow them to vote anyway? It's a common sense thing. It's I've never voted to where I did not have to show my driver's license. And why in the world would anybody think that it's okay to go into a polling station and vote and they not even know who you are? I mean, it's just not common sense to do that. It's not smart to do that. Um,
Well, I do a lot of traveling, Rick, across the Commonwealth, and so I stay in a lot of hotels,
mhm.
and I've never stayed in a hotel to where I did not have to show my ID
Yep.
to check in the hotel. You have to show an ID to get into the Democrat National Convention. You have to show an ID to, of course, um, go on an airplane.
Absolutely.
But you
True.
don't have to show an ID to vote. And then in the Commonwealth of Virginia this past session, they just passed a bill and that would disallow people's um, electoral status to be questioned at a polling place. So if you've got a question of somebody is voting at multiple polling precincts, now it's against the law in the Commonwealth of Virginia to even question that.
And so to me, when I hear you say that, and I was aware of this, that's the end of Virginia. If they allow that, then that's just going to pull Virginia down. People are going to have to stand up, and they're going to have to demand that the laws be put in place. And everyone in this country should show a valid identification, a driver's license, or a passport, whatever form you have. You should have to show that in order to go into that ballot box. And that's just the way it should be. It's no. We could talk about it for hours, but the only simple answer and the most common sense answer is show me your driver's license. If I get this position, I would for surely. I would. It gets me a little mad actually. I would because I don't really like things that are just really stupid. That's a stupid thing to pass in Virginia. I mean, anybody and everybody can walk in and vote for anything they want to, and that'll be our destruction if we're not careful.
Well, and in case people don't know this, on August 4th, when yourself and other people are
Mm-hmm.
in the primary, and well, by the way, before we get to say it, early voting is open.
Right.
So you can go vote now. But August 4th is the actual primary day. There are 2 counties in Virginia that the DOJ is sending representatives to monitor the situation: Fairfax County and Prince William County.
Imagine that.
I'm not surprised in Fairfax.
Well, no, but it's no, I'm not surprised either. I'm surprised they even let me vote in Fairfax. But we have 2 counties, fairly large counties at that, in Virginia, where the Department of Justice has said we actually have to send someone to monitor what you're doing.
So they must have a bad history. So
That's crazy.
it is crazy.
I mean,
And we've become a place to where honesty isn't a virtue anymore. And the way I was raised with my uncles and stuff and working in construction, this is what they taught us. I was raised without a father. My uncle was mostly a father figure to me. He'd always say, Rick, a handshake and your word is better than a signed contract. And that's the way we've always lived our lives. Of course, I've signed contracts throughout the year because some people just want it. But if you don't have a good word and if your handshake doesn't mean anything, then we've lost who we're supposed to be. And we just don't have honesty anymore. It's just a lot of dishonesty going on.
Yeah. Here's what the DOJ said. They believe there may have been some problems in recent elections. Oh my goodness. The most sacred thing we have in this country.
May have been.
There may have been. So we need to send,
Well, after this election,
they might be
sending to more counties.
They need to camp out at Steve Descano's office is what they need to do.
Yeah.
No, they already tried that. They don't. They just yelled at him. I was very disappointed in that.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, not that he doesn't deserve to get yelled at, but
well, it's because it's almost nearly impossible to remove a sitting Commonwealth attorney in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
No, I know.
And they certainly can't do it at the. They certainly can't do it in Washington.
No. They just wanted to yell at him and get their clips.
Just get their campaign pundits in because it was almost a waste of taxpayers' money to even bring him up there because it's like talk about a law with no teeth. You and I were talking about that at lunch. All the these laws that were passed in Virginia, these bills rather, that became law in Virginia, that have no teeth. They're just so I can go back to my district and say I did this, I did that. I fought Trump, but there's no way to monitor whether those laws are being obeyed or not. And honestly, I don't care. I don't know that the delegate or the senator really cares whether the law is being obeyed. They're just able to go back to Dan Helmer is just able to go back to his district and say, I fought against Trump and I won this battle and this became law and say all that to his people, his fellow Trump haters in his district in Northern Virginia. Same with Scott Surville in Eastern Fairfax. I mean, they just pass these bills to go back and pat themselves on the back, and they're not good for the people of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
No.
And they have no teeth, and that's similar to what they did to Steve Descano. And I'm not quite sure how you got me on that tangent, Will, but I'm quite sure you're probably at fault.
Well, they're going to pat themselves on the back all the way from Richmond all the way back home when they get 150% pay increase.
Yes.
You don't hear a lot of them complaining about that.
No.
No, and but it is like, we have to streamline. And so if you look in Virginia, and I could do this for the federal level too, and it'd probably be similar. But if you look at the number of bills in the state of Virginia, say in the mid 90s or early 90s, it was a digestible amount. A person who has a job could keep up with it fairly. I mean, it takes some work and intentionality, but you could do it. This past session is the highest in the history of the Commonwealth. It was over 2,000 bills.
And for the regular person out here, they can't keep up with it because they're busy trying to make a living, trying to put food on the table, trying to pay the bills. They don't have time to sit down and read every single bill. So stuff gets passed, and we wake up July 1st, and life's changed as we know it because of all this stuff come through. But the ordinary working person can't keep up with all that.
No, exactly. Even people who do it full time can't keep up with it.
It's too much to keep up with, and it's got to stop somewhere. And you know what? I implore the churches to stand up even more. And I hope I can be as an example. Whether I win this primary or not, at least I hope somebody can say, you know what? As a church, we can stand up too. If this guy stood up, then we can stand up too. Let's take our state back. And I just hope something good comes out of it.
Yeah, I think you're right. People need an example to follow. I mean, you can see that just in, I love debating people about the Bible because the world naturally has a hierarchy, right? Like
Absolutely.
God lays it all out in the Bible. God is obviously at the top, but you can put together a group of people. They'll naturally find a hierarchy within that group of people. Sure. Where they got that from? The Lord. Anyway. So yeah, you're right though. People need to follow an example. Somebody unfortunately has to go through the door first. You know what I mean? And then but people follow though, right? People follow strong leaders. They look for strong leaders. Kids, you can see it. You know, I used to coach youth sports. You'd find out real quick which ones were the leaders and which ones. And there's nothing wrong with not being the leader, by the way. Like,
Absolutely not.
you have to have followers.
Sometimes people just
well.
want to see somebody else doing it, and then they'll all start standing up and start leading themselves.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
It's all an example.
Yeah, so we have to. The Save Act thing is, you know, I just got back from a cruise a couple of weeks ago in Alaska. My son is 11, like I said before, and he had to have an ID to get on the ship.
Mhm. Well, I mean, we've got to produce an idea of a lot of things that we do today. For the life of me, I can't understand why people would refuse to pass an act that tells us we have to show ID to go in and to vote for a person that we're going to put in a high position. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, I don't know. And you know what I just thought of actually? Because I was just on a plane recently. Well, I have a passport, so I'm not big on new forms of ID. But you have to upgrade to the real ID thing at some point to get on an airplane.
Yeah.
I think it was May of 25. My wife and I, we go to DC. We go. It's one of our favorite spots, and we'll go and tour the White House. But before you could do that, I think it was May of 2025. You had to have your ID turned to the real ID, which I didn't see no big deal with that. So we get to go there and tour during Christmas and the holidays and stuff, and we love it. But I don't have a problem with that. You know, it's for the safety of people in it, I suppose. But I don't have a problem at all showing my ID to get in government places or voting or anything, or even a cruise ship. I wouldn't have a problem because I want them to know. I want somebody to know who's on that boat with me. Because if you don't know them, then how can we make sure that it's secure and safe?
Yeah, I didn't mind using it. People don't want an ID to vote, but all these other, we could go on. We could probably spend the next 4 hours listing examples where you need ID to do something.
I have to show my General Assembly credentials to get in the door at the GA building in Richmond, the Capitol. But
there was one video I saw not long ago. It was a Democrat speaking. She said, "If we make everybody show IDs, then we can't win elections."
That's it.
Oh yeah,
it.
I did see
I
that.
can't remember where I saw it, but I remember seeing it.
That is it. Oh, you were talking a few moments ago about leaders and followers.
Yeah.
But you got to have followers.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, Grandpa used to say, don't you? Grandpa Jones from Hee Haw used to say, don't you?
No.
Do you remember Hee Haw?
Yeah.
Do you?
Not that well. Not as well as you.
We mean not as well as me.
I remember it really well.
I think Rick was on this episode or two of Hee Haw, but Grandpa Jones used to say that if a leader has no followers, all he's doing is taking a walk.
Yeah, exactly. I met Grandpa Jones.
Oh. All right. We want to do a couple of amendments.
Yeah, let's ask him some hard questions.
Oh goodness.
Well, just for our listeners, even though we've done a lot and both of us have done a lot on this individually and together, in Virginia we're facing, and we're not going to go into the entire amendment. People can listen to the other episode, or we got a lot of things coming up this summer about the abortion amendment. To sum it up really quickly, it is the most extreme abortion amendment bill, doesn't matter which one you call it, although in Virginia to be an amendment, in the world.
Yeah.
It is, there is no, nothing else. This one. And by the way, this is actually for a federal level as well. Not that you can do anything about it, but this amendment is spreading. Jersey's doing the same thing. And some other states are starting to work on it. We are imploring people to vote no. And, you know, the Republican Party came out as a quote unquote opposed to it. But this for us
finally
is, it's life.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's really as simple as that. And we need Republicans and conservatives that are either going to Richmond or, in your case, going to D.C., that can stand in the gap when these kind of things come down. So we just wanted to get your opinion on this amendment, and because you're coming from District 7, there's a lot of churches in your district, but there's a lot of churches in Virginia, and there's a lot of quietness about this.
You're talking about the abortion amendment? it would be absolutely no all the way. If I could get to Congress, I know that I could talk to some people. I can explain to them why it's important that we go against this. And I think sometimes you just got to have the people's ear to talk sense into them so that you can get them to vote in the right direction. And what I mean by that is the direction that would be pleasing to God. We don't want abortion. We don't want it at all. I don't know that we can ever get rid of it at all, but if we get people standing up against it, that's the first step. And we were at the committee, the Republican committee the other night, Dr. Huffman, and you were explaining that pretty well. And that's the kind of stuff we like to hear, because you don't hear that kind of fire being spoke about anymore. You don't hear about people standing up against anything anymore. And we need leaders in Washington that's not afraid to stand up and say, you know what, absolutely not. Don't even try to tag it along with something else. Absolutely, it's a big fat no for me. So,
Yeah, it's getting the information out there and
yeah.
educating people, and also understanding this is where they were always going.
Mm-hmm.
And churches have to be ready to step up and to do something about this amendment, the marriage amendment, which enshrines gender into the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia. We are moving ever so quickly to socialism in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Yes.
We are sprinting down that road.
And you know, as pastors, Christians, we're told that we're supposed to stand up strong. We're supposed to speak boldly. We don't have to be rude and insulting to people, but we can stand strong and boldly and say what we believe. And that should be okay. And if we do that, I believe more people would start doing it. If we can get some of these bigger churches to do that as well. Don't worry about losing your tax exempt. Don't worry about who you're going to offend. Stand up and speak the truth. And I think today, this stuff is even on the ballot because there's not a lot of churches and conservatives who are speaking the truth. Republicans are not speaking the truth. We have a lot of weak people in office who want to get their way and their way only, and they'll do anything they can to make a name for themselves. And it shouldn't be about that. It should be about protecting the people and it being a voice for the people. And if we don't stand up, we're going to lose every liberty, every freedom that we've ever fought for. And this is the time. When I built my church, I named it Crossroads for that specific reason, because each and every one of us is standing at a crossroads, and we're at one day in time, we're going to be held accountable. And when I stand before the Lord, I want to hear the words, "Enter, good and faithful servant." I don't want to hear the word "depart." So that holds me accountable, and that holds me accountable to every decision that I'll be making. Is this going to be pleasing to Him?
Yeah, and this is why more Christians need to run for office.
Yeah, exactly.
Is because we can hold you to, we can hold you to the Bible. Hey, we can call you. Hey, Representative Smithers, why did you vote this way? You said you were, you know what I mean? But it's all, and again, to go back to transparency, it's all there. And what I tell pastors that don't want to step up and talk about, particularly this abortion amendment, is because it takes away parental notice.
Yeah.
And so what are you going to do when a family comes to get counseling from you and something happened and now their daughter has gone down that road and they didn't get resources from that pastor, the pastor never said anything, and now they've got to deal with the aftermath, which is always the worst part. The aftermath is heartbreaking and heart-wrenching. How is that pastor actually going to be able to help them when he failed to do anything in the first place?
Well, it's like a question I got asked at one of the committee meetings the other night. If you take an oath to support the Constitution, to enforce the Constitution of the United States of America, you take an oath to do just that. If you take an oath by God to lead that church and your flock as well, your congregates, you take an oath to do that as well, and it's your responsibility. I wouldn't want to be the one held accountable for not teaching the people what they need to know and what they should be knowing, what we are instructed to teach them through the Bible. I wouldn't want to be a pastor of that, because if I was that, I wouldn't want to be a pastor at all, because it's got to be truth in His word. I preach it every single Sunday. I endorse people from my pulpit. I'm not afraid of the IRS coming after us, because to be honest, if you look at the regulations from the IRS, if you have a church, if you're preaching out of the Bible once a week, you're already ordained as a church, and that's not a whole lot. They can come and threaten us all they want to, but I'm sticking up for him, and we need to tell people the truth. I wouldn't want to be the pastor that didn't give correct counsel to any young person, any older person, any married couple. It's got to be straight from what God would want us to tell them to do. And you got me on video saying that, and I don't mind it a bit. It's got to be the truth.
And it's going to go everywhere.
Well, the two of us are on video saying a lot of things, so we're still here.
Sometimes we're on video saying something in a place that we just go once.
Exactly. Hey, I'm not afraid. I know where I end up at the very end of all of this. I know where I'll go, so I'm not afraid.
Yeah, and that's the part where Christians have to understand too. Like, you're walking in the strength of the Lord.
Absolutely.
It's not my strength. I'd
have been out long ago if it was my strength. I'd have been out long ago.
Right.
Oh my gosh, me too. I would have been. I don't have a lot of patience sometimes. By the grace of God, I have more than I should. Any last questions for you, Dr. Hoffman?
No, I don't. I just I want to.
Before we do plugs.
Well, I want to ask. I said some pretty strong things the other night at the committee on the three amendments, and was probably making some people uncomfortable, and that's okay.
That's good.
Yeah. On the federal level, I want to put you on the spot, okay? And I want to ask you on the issue of abortion.
Mm-hmm.
When does life begin? When would you be in? What would you be in favor? Would you be in favor of a 15-week ban, a 21-week ban, a 12-week ban? How do you see your politics and as you stand with your convictions before God?
I am going to go with Charlie Kirk on this one. I'm going to say right at conception. I don't know what word you used the other night, but I feel like that at conception, once you get pregnant, that's it. You should. That's it. That baby has the right to live.
Okay.
I wouldn't waver on that at all. Absolutely not. Like I said, I got to stand before Him one day. And that meeting the other night, you didn't offend us. We thought we were in a church service, and we get ready to stand up. That's right up our alley. It was really good. So, but I believe at conception is where it starts.
Yeah. All right, very good.
Yeah,
I think the word I used the other night was the word that James Wilson used. The word was quickening. He's the founding fathers. Yeah. James Wilson, of course, was a signer of the Declaration, and a lot of people would say that, well, the founding fathers didn't have anything to say about abortion. Actually, they did. James Wilson, again, the signer of the Declaration, said that the moment of quickening, the moment the woman knows that she's pregnant. Now, what do we have nowadays? We know a heartbeat. We know brain activity at 3 weeks, which is 21 days. Yeah. And there are many women who don't know they're pregnant at 3 weeks.
No, they don't.
So from the moment that a woman, with our current level of medical advancements, when a woman finds out she's pregnant, our founding fathers said that baby has a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yep, and we'll follow it through with boldness because that's what we're taught.
Yeah, and it gets really dark on the other side. I saw a story, and I'd have to pull it up to get all the details, but it's a Canadian, it comes out of Canada. And the homosexual couple there had a surrogate, and the baby had what is it with the lip? Cleft
palate.
A very simple fix that's been able to be fixed for a very long time now. Anyway, they wanted the mother to have an abortion, and she wouldn't do it, and now they're suing her for $600,000.
Well, there was also an infant here just like last month or something. Their baby, the mother was pregnant like 5 months. And they discovered that it was going to be born with Down syndrome. And
the YouTuber.
Yeah, and they aborted it and coming on YouTube thinking, okay, look what we did, and laughing and just celebrating it. And I hope to lose every follower they got. So.
Yeah, it is. Again, everything's spiritual. The roads all end in darkness without the Lord leading the way. And when you prioritize everything correctly, including the right to life, it
leads everybody better life. It really does. If we live right, then everybody else will live right along with us. I don't want to sound like I'm crazy or anything, but you know what? I put the Lord first, then my family, and then my career. And I think that's biblical. I think that's the way we're supposed to do it.
Oh yeah, no, I don't
Without
think you
him,
sound
there's
crazy.
nothing
That's
I don't know.
that's the correct order. God first. God always comes first because after that, everything else falls in the correct order.
right?
And then my family's most important after the Lord, and then after that is, the job. But I'll drop any of this in a heartbeat if something,
Absolutely, I
Yep.
agree with you. You know,
I'm, yeah.
my we had my wife had a liver transplant back in 2016,
Oh my
and you know
gosh.
what? We get a lot of debates about healthcare and stuff like that. But let me tell you, the, I had given my business up in 2005 when we were getting ready to go to Bible college. The day we
Mhm.
were leaving is when she got sick and she was walking across the yard, and the Lord said, "Take her to the doctor." We took her to the doctor, and she got diagnosed with the rare liver disease. 2 weeks later, we were in South Florida at Bible college. She got diagnosed with Crohn's disease. So you know what? We've been very blessed by the Lord. She's doing excellent today.
Oh, thank
I would
goodness.
give
Yeah.
up I would give up this. I'm doing this because I just want to help people. I'm not doing
Yeah.
it for money. I'm not doing it for the position, and I'm not doing it for the career. I can go out here and live a happy life and be fine with that. But people need, and with the experiences that we've had in life, people need someone that's going to fight for them these days because
Hmm.
we don't have many people that do that today. And leading the church, I see a lot of people who are just struggling. That breaks my heart. I want to help them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, praise the Lord, your wife is doing better.
Amen.
Absolutely.
That's Yeah, leading the church, you see a lot of miracles. It's pretty amazing sometimes.
Yeah, you're talking about that YouTube couple that had the abortion
Yeah.
because their child was said to have had Down syndrome.
Correct.
When they do a blood screening to try to prove whether or not the child's going to have Down syndrome, did you know that only 5 out of 100 of those tests are actually accurate? The rest are false positives.
Yeah, I did know that.
So it's a very good chance that they aborted a very healthy child.
There's a good chance of it. Yep.
There's more of a chance that that baby was healthy than there is that baby was not.
Stupid decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a decision they're going to regret.
And even when they run what they call an NIPT test, the younger you are, the higher the false positives are. But the average false positive of that is 40% on the high side. So it's, and of course, false positive would be you've got Down syndrome, but reality is you don't.
Yeah, but you also I don't want to go off on a long tangent. You took someone's, you know what I mean? Like that child, who knows what kind of life and joy that child would have brought to
Of
you?
course.
You know what I mean? Like I'm blessed enough to see my son. Well, he's at my mom's house right now, but I'm blessed to see my son every day.
I think that Down syndrome children are an absolute blessing from the Lord because they're
I
just
agree.
perfect kids. They really are.
Every child is a miracle in my eyes.
Absolutely.
Every single one. And to watch. I don't coach youth sports anymore, and part of me is really sad. Part of me knows it's good because my son needs to listen to other men and all that good stuff. But anyway, I get to just go and watch now
Yeah.
when he plays baseball, and to watch him and his friends play a game that they love is so much fun.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
It
We went
is just, yeah, it's amazing.
kids play sports.
Yeah, there's nothing else like it to see him and his friends in the dugout. And then, especially if he's playing, one of his other friends is on a different team. That's my favorite because they get talking trash to each other. And, but then they high five each other around the, like, I'm sorry, just every kid is a miracle. There's just never, you make it work.
You do.
People are aborting kids because of what we would boil down to logistics. Oh, well, it'd be hard because he needs medical. You figure it out.
Figure it out, man. Seriously. Make it work, like you said. And I agree with that 100%.
We had to pull my kid out of public school, and my wife and I came to the realization this is not a maybe we should do this. We are doing this. It has to happen now. And you know what? We figured it out.
We did. All 4 of my kids, we were fortunate to put them through Christian school the whole time.
Yeah.
But let me tell you this, and this is no joke. there were some mornings to where the kids and I and my wife, we were looking through the couch cushions to find quarters to get gas to take our kids to school because it was that important to us. You know, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, me neither. I feel the same way. My wife and I have had to sacrifice quite a bit to make this Christian school thing happen, but I would never trade it for anything.
Yeah. We skipped out on vacations. We skipped out on a lot of stuff so that our kids could get that education. So, and it's been worth it. My kids, I tell you what, they are amazing today.
That's amazing. I did tell my son though he's going to pay me back if he ever makes it to the majors.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. More than just free tickets to the game too.
All right, this is fun.
Yeah.
Sir, you got any? Well, no, we'll let you go last for some plugs because you're the guest and you've got more important things coming up. You got anything to plug there, Dr. Hoffman?
No, I just want to plug VAIB, Virginia Assembly of Independent Baptists. Go to our website at www.vaib.org, and there's a couple of videos there on the abortion amendment. There's a video there on the same-sex marriage amendment that you can watch and see what the amendment actually says. Don't believe the Democrats when they tell you what the amendment says because they're lying to you. So go on vaib.org and hear the truth. You can email me at director@vaib.org, or you can email me at drmichael@thekingdompolitics.org. I get emails at both places. We'll answer any legal question that you have there as well. Will and I teach constitutional law. If anybody would want us to come to your church or civic event and teach a course on constitutional law, we'd be glad to do that. You can email Dr. Michael at thekingdompolitics.org. You can also email Will, but I'll let him give his email address. So also, when you go on vaib.org, we have our annual meeting coming up in September 24th, 25th. We'd love to see you there. Rick, we'd love to see you and your lovely wife there as well down in Richmond. And so we will have pastors there from all over the Commonwealth, not just Richmond. So you'll be able to no doubt meet some. In fact, I know that there'll be at least one pastor preaching there that's in Congressional District 7. So I know that there'll be at least one pastor there that will be in your district. So we'd love to have you come. And so that'll be at vaib.org. Just go down to the conference tab and register today. Spots are filling up fast. But email me at drmichael@thekingdompolitics.org or director@vaib.org. Is that enough?
Yeah, that was good. We're getting good at this.
Yeah.
Just waiting to go network. Yeah, so thekingdompolitics.org will have an update. I hope to get it to it tomorrow. I might get it to it tonight, but we got music at our church tonight, so I'm going to go over there and listen to some gospel. So I'll probably do it tomorrow. But there's going to be an update on there about having Dr. Huffman and I come to your church and explain these amendments and why you should vote. So we'll have some information on there. There's information on the Get Involved tab, and people are signing up. We've got a handful of people already signed up to help out, and we've got a lot of things coming down the pike over the next few weeks and months and years and all that good stuff as we work to do this. But we'll be at thekingdompolitics.org is the email, but it's all on the website. All the socials are on the website. Follow the socials. We'll have the show cut up with Rick here over the next couple days. So there'll be clips posted, but we post other stuff there as well. I got a series I'm going to start working on some bills that never made it to the public's eye that we'll look at. So why Christians need to know about this stuff. But anyway, our guest of honor today, sir, you got anything you'd like to?
Well, I'll say this. In my world, in the construction world, in the world that I live in here, I hear a lot of people screaming for change. Don't hope for change, vote for change. I'm about as real as I get. I'll say what's on my mind. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I do that something. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I want to help the people, and like I said, vote for me August 4th if you want change in Congress. That's the only way you're going to get it, is to vote for people who are willing to make a stand against anybody and everybody. I get angry at a lot of things that's going on in the world, but it's a righteous anger, and I think that anger is what drives me to do what I do. So I'm here to help you. But people have got to get out and vote.
Yeah, for sure. Get out and vote. Early voting has already started. In District 7, well, no, everywhere, right?
Yeah.
No matter where you live in Virginia, early voting starting. But for us, District 7 has started, and the actual day is August 4th.
Don't sit at home, folks.
No, please don't sit at home.
40% of Christians did not vote
Yeah.
in 2025.
Yeah, please don't do that. Please get out and vote. It doesn't take a lot of time. Do some research. We are doing a lot of it for you.
Yeah.
I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, like,
if you need help on the candidate, email us.
yeah, you can email us and you can watch the episode. And if you have more questions, we can email the candidates. We know them all. So
we know everything about Rick Smithers. I even know what he's thinking right now.
I'm thinking
That's
40% is a big enough number to make a huge difference.
And see, I knew that's what he was thinking.
That's what everyone thinks. Yeah, 40%. You could literally, man, if you could get 40%.
Oh my.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
The world would be way different right now.
Yeah.
So we got a little Spurgeon quote that we play out with a little bit of a cool rap song and my favorite Bible verse on top of it as soon as I find my media. And again, sir, we appreciate everything.
Thank you so much.
And 1 second and we'll be off.
And I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" And I said, "Here am I. Send me."